Welcome everybody to a new episode of Musicast, the music podcast where we don't really talk about music, but why you should hear these songs because they're amazing. Remember to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that. We're on YouTube, so all the YouTubers say the subscribe, ring the bell, Spotify playlist, yada yada yada. And for this week, I got Ryan Cooper. Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
All good, all good. Just that's the introduction. I'm trying to keep it short because last time, dude, it was so long.
I get it. No, you like every piece is an evolution, right? Of what was and what's before. So.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot. Remember a Spanish episode, los episodios en español, los jueves a las 7:30. You say, oh,
sí.
bueno. All right, no Spanish for today. Don't worry.
We'll try. Like I said, I'm learning.
All right.
I'm in class right now.
Oh, really? Here in Miami.
I'm doing Fluence. It's a online immersion.
Okay.
So, like I told you, my girlfriend is big into Hispanic market from a television production perspective. So she represents pretty much every Spanish-speaking director in the world.
Holy.
So, like a brand like Coca-Cola wants to do a Spanish-speaking or Spanish-focused commercial, they call her. She's like, okay, for this type of scenario, this is the director you should use, and blah 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 blah. She does that in television, but also technology. But Spanish is her first language, and it's big of her culture. So, in the spirit of trying to integrate and be a good, partner,
you gotta be
living
there
in Miami, and she's got a young son. So I was like, you know what? I found Fluence.
Okay.
And it's immersion over, I think it's 10 sessions, and then eventually you can go to like Barcelona or Mexico City. And live there for like a week, and they just pound it on you. So.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah. So
you can go to the Doral.
Yeah, or you go to Doral, or I can just walk out my front door,
right.
or talk to my girl's 3 or 5-year-old now. Yeah.
And how long have you been in Miami?
So I moved here in 2001.
Okay.
And then I lived here till 2011. I moved away for, I believe it was 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And then I moved away to Cincinnati, and then Denver. And then I moved back to Miami Shores. I think it was like 15 or 16, something like that. So I've had two stints here.
That's cool. You really like Miami.
Yeah,
I
mean...
The weather or...
Well, when we first lived here, it was the first kind of place outside of college and out of my first work for the most part. And meeting all the people from around Miami, the diversity, the craziness, and being young and all that was kind of cool.
The craziness.
And then when we moved away, I really really missed Miami because we lived in Cincinnati first.
Yeah, you went to the real United States.
Exactly, went back. I was like, oh man, we missed so much of what Miami was becoming at the time. That's when Wynwood kind of started, and the art scene started. And it kind of turned away from Miami Beach and the club scene and all that stuff. So we kind of left it when it was like doing a new turn. Right. It was like kind of like when Brooklyn turned around. We're like, damn, we're missing this. But we would come back, and then we moved from Cincinnati to Denver, and Denver's a completely different experience, which is amazing.
Oh, really? I haven't been to Denver.
Oh my God, man, it's amazing. The people are amazing. The city and the state is beautiful. There's so much stuff to do. People are great. Anyway. But then at the time, I had an opportunity to come back, and my wife at the time really missed Miami. We had all of our friends that we'd built here for like 10 or 15 years.
Of course.
So we made the move to come back, and been here ever since.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's worse places in America to live. But I tell people, like, Miami is, I'm from Mississippi, so when I first moved here, people are like, are you sure? I'm like, hey. Miami, if you look at it, it's a big city. There's a lot of people from all over the place. Most of them are crazy.
Like 90%.
Yeah. So, but there's diversity. There's enrichment in different cultures. There's a lot of difference going on in people. And you either hate it because it's not what you're used to.
Or you love it.
And you leave in about a year.
Yeah.
Or you love it and you stay forever. And we've kind of fallen in the second camp. I love the diversity in the city and
that's cool.
All the different types of people, the different languages, the craziness for the most part. But there's also stuff you don't like, but you kind of say, hey.
You balance it out, and normally Miami wins. Yeah. That's the thing.
It doesn't win in the music scene for sure.
Let me ask you something. Now that you mentioned music. How do you get into music? How does Ryan says, I don't want to be an accountant, I don't want to be a lawyer, I want to be a singer?
That's a good question. So, this has been asked me before. My dad was really into music. There was always music around. He was into like the Beatles and Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin because he grew up in the mid to late 50s.
Okay.
High school and college in the early 60s.
Right.
And fought in Vietnam. So there's a lot of credible music that came on. If it's the band or like I said, Jimi Hendrix or Bob Dylan. So growing up, he was always playing music in the car. Okay. You know, and we were always going places together. So I was always hearing like Jim Croce or the band. So it was just always there. And my mom was in musical plays. Okay. So I'd always go to like the musical play practices with her and all that stuff. And I remember there was a movie called The Big Chill. Okay. And it had a soundtrack. It was like one of the big first times like a movie and a soundtrack like really blew up together. And we used to sing, and that was when the California Raisins had a what do you call it, a television commercial where they were singing. So we used to play and sing that we were singing. And then later on, when I was in high school, I was an athlete. I was a baseball player, but they also had the theater. I always wanted to do theater, but I was like, man, I don't want to go learn those lines and take time away from baseball. But
and you're at this is what time? Like the 80s?
Early 90s. So I went to high school from 91 to 94. So like my senior year, there was a musical going on. And I just happened to be with one of the girls that was in the music, and I was singing all the songs.
So you're pretty much like the High School Musical story, but with baseball, like this poor guy who goes to the music.
Like Grease. I watched Grease. Right, my mom was in Grease, and then I watched the movie, and I loved John Travolta, and that he was like this dual threat. And then they did Grease my senior year, and like Danny Zuko would have been my move, but since I was a baseball player, it just didn't work out. But I would sing all the songs. She was like, I remember her in calculus. She's like, damn, you can sing. I was like, really? She was like, yeah. So that kind of got me thinking about it. And then it didn't really hit until my the summer after my senior year. I got a guitar for my birthday. Okay. And I started to teach myself guitar. And this guy that I knew who was going to college with me, he knew I could sing. So he wanted to kind of put a band together. So we kind of dicked around over the summer and tried a couple gigs that were not any good. Right. But then when I went to college, I taught myself guitar, and then I learned the songs through, back then there was Guitar Player magazine, so you would see, or Acoustic Guitar Player, you could see all the songs in the chord progression, because I learned everything by ear.
Holy shit.
And then next thing, I remember, you fast forward, I'm still playing like little solo things, like little parties and whatnot, or I'd go to the party and bring my guitar, play for the girls or whatever. And
you're the guitar guy.
The guitar guy. And then in a fraternity house in Mississippi State where I went to school, one neighbor here, he played harmonica and percussion, and then my other buddy played guitar. So then we started playing
all together, right?
Exactly. And then I got a gig and I started playing open mics in college, and then same thing. I got really good feedback on my voice, and so then the idea was like, well, shit, we could do this. And then I put a couple pieces together, like we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how it started. It started in college, but it really started, to answer your question, the genesis was riding to school or riding to baseball practice with my dad, and he's playing the band or Jim Croce or Jimi Hendrix or Dylan, and just kind of being immersed with that, and then listen to records on my own. I remember my aunt gave me my first album for my 4th birthday. It was a Kiss album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and even today she still sends me like, hey, check this band out, and she is on the money every time.
Wow, your aunt.
My aunt, yeah.
Actually, the same with mine.
Yeah.
My aunt is the one who got me into Korn, into Rolling Stone, into everything, into rock. She's been there.
And she was huge in it, because I remember going to her apartment and she would have like records. She was huge into U2, like back in the day when it was early. Huge Beatles fan. So the catalog in her mind of Beatles is amazing. But even when I got married, she's like, most people are giving you these plates or whatever as gifts and shit. She gave me a Pete Yorn album, and I was like, damn, that's awesome. And Ryan Adams is from Jacksonville, where I grew up in my summers, where they're from. So there's all this connectivity through family in the end, and then friends, and then just kind of finding what my own sound was in the end.
That's cool. Yeah. That's cool.
Which I went through so many iterations as a little kid. And you were talking about heavy metal, like, because I was a skater too, right? So there was like the skater culture.
Wow. Okay.
And then I grew up as a kid in the 80s, so like new wave new wave punks like The Cure and New Order and all that stuff was in there. And the next thing you know, I'm in the 7th grade and I'm listening to Cult of Personality by Living Colour, and that's kind of got into heavy shit. And Anthrax was, and that's when MTV came around. And I
Nirvana,
remember that didn't come till later. So like the evolution was interesting. So like I went through the 80s new wave phase because I was young,
right.
And then when I got into skateboarding, I was listening to Misfits and like Agent Orange, like crazy stuff. And there's a funny story about that when I was buying them in Laurel, Mississippi. And then when I got out of the skating thing, is Cult of Personality, and that's when MTV started in the way, and rap kind of came in there a little bit.
Right.
But I remember like Headbangers Ball was like a big thing on Friday night. So you'd watch Headbangers Ball on MTV, and that's when I got into Anthrax, which as a kid, like.
Right.
But the funny thing is, for my 12th birthday, my dad took me to the Headbangers Ball in New Orleans, which it was on the bill was Anthrax, Halloween, and Exodus. So
and your dad got you into that.
My dad drove me to New Orleans.
Okay.
He sat up in the rafters, and I went in the pit as a 12-year-old and got my ass beat.
Of course.
But it was
as
just
any 12-year-old should in the pit.
And the only thing I can remember afterwards is my dad like saying, "You know what? I was listening to it. He's like, that guitar player was missing a lot." And I was like, "Yeah." But then you move into what really came out was. My early years in high school was 91. That's when Pearl Jam hit with 10, and Nirvana came out with Nevermind and all that, and then the Pumpkins came out with Gish, and then that's when the fuel.
Yeah, it just. All right. Hey, I don't know if have you ever been into pits again, or? I got a tip that nobody really knows.
Like a slam dancing pit.
Yeah, it's the security boats. When you get the metal tip.
Yeah.
That's the only way. I mean, I'm a skinny guy. I was 14, 15. Dude, they were, I don't know, 6 foot tall, fat guys. You know that.
Yeah,
right? They look like a fridge. And I'm like,
yeah.
Well, with this metal tip, you're going down, motherfucker.
It was always like the excuse to like be able to fight, but like indirectly, like, hey, we're dancing, but let me fight you at the same time. Like, and then like, wait a minute, I'm not sure about that. A buddy of mine was in a big hardcore band here.
Okay.
Called Where Fear and Weapons Meet. And when we first met, it was some of the pit diving and stuff that was going on at those shows was insane. But the last time I was in like a pit like that, I think maybe that Halloween show. Maybe I learned my lesson.
Not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
The last time I went to the concert, I was going to buy the pits, and nobody was going to come with me. Nobody, like in my close friends, they were like, "No, that's too heavy for me." And I was like, "Okay, if I go there." And it's possible that you may get a really hard punch.
Right.
And I was like, fuck, I'm going to be alone. I got a teeth surgery. Exactly. I'm not going to waste this money again. You know what? I'm just going back and enjoy the show.
I'm with you. And I think it evolved. I guess my mosh pitting evolved because I was not into the music anymore where mosh pitting was going on.
Right. It's heavy. It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's so complicated. So let's see. You would say you told me Smashing Pumpkins was the one that blew your mind, or one of the bands that blew your mind.
Pumpkins is one I really kind of grabbed onto. And I guess in my high school years, I mean, 10 came out. Pearl Jam was a big deal. Nirvana, obviously, Nevermind was a huge deal.
Oh, you know that guy, the boy is suing the band now.
Who?
The Naked baby, who is already 30 now.
Why is he suing them? Don't tell me for like sexual exploitation or some shit. Really?
Yeah, because that's
his parents, right?
Yeah, they paid him $200 at the time, but they took like a bunch of babies, and he was just the lucky one. And 30 years later, he's saying, "Yeah, you owe me money because now everybody in the world has seen my penis, and I have no privacy and all that."
He's just looking for a cash grab because back in the day, I remember like if I was watching. There's a documentary called Back and Forth. Mm-hmm. It's about Foo Fighters.
Yeah, I saw it.
Insane. And most recently, I watch it every week. It's the weirdest thing. And it's about like band management more because I love how Dave Grohl just kind of owns his shit.
Oh yeah,
like, that's his band. Everybody knows it, but everybody's inclusive. But at the same time, you got to be on point.
Yeah,
you know.
He gives you the opportunity if you are with what he's thinking.
But if you're not, and like I tell Darren, in the band, I'm like, you're my Pat Smear. Like, and that's what I tell people. It's like, right. And every time like recording, like if whatever we do in the recording, Darren Bruck will be here. Mm-hmm. Because he's like my Pat Smear. Like wherever we go, we kind of find our way together. Right. Musically, I would say.
Right.
So yeah, the first part of it goes through the Nirvana story, and they flash, and I'm like, and this is the first. I was like, oh, I wonder what that would look like today. You know, if somebody put that out, or I wonder if that's considered child pornography today, because in theory, it's a naked baby, and it's a
penis in there. Yeah.
I mean, if it was a girl baby, it'd be. I mean, Jesus Christ, who the hell knows?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that that's going on again.
Yeah, it's going on, and I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I just think he's trying to get. Okay, we'll get a bit.
He's trying to get some dollars, which.
What's going on?
Hey, lady. Oh, that's right. I forgot how best friends we were. She's like, this guy was petting me early.
What is going on with you, man?
There we go. We're all animals, right? Yeah.
Look at that. All right. So you were telling me that you got into me. What the hell? He started like that with business. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, he's tired already. So you got him into playing, and pretty much all your bands and gigs have been going on like right on the spot. You get there and you got a friend and invite him over, you got a guitar. And that actually makes me transition into the song that I chose, that I wanted to show you.
All right, awesome.
Which I know you're going to know from a really big band called The Who.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay.
And the song is called Eminence Front.
Okay.
All right, this is from 1968, I want to say, and I'm going to double check right now. I left it here. Yeah. No, 1982. Oh my God. I'm so bad.
I don't know if I've heard it because I'm not a big Who fan.
Okay.
And I've got my reasons and it's kind of like, to me, and I've changed my position on this a few times. To me, the Who and Led Zeppelin were competing.
Okay.
So I was a Led
You were
Zeppelin.
more okay.
Just like you got Coldplay and Radiohead. Don't even get started.
Yeah.
With that.
No.
But to me, the Who was kind of like.
The lesser known from the Led Zeppelin.
Coldplay was to Radiohead.
Okay.
Until I found out the plagiaristic nature of Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
So then I've come back on the Who a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
right.
that's why I would say I wouldn't know, except for like Pinball Wizard and some of the stuff that
like the really big ones that they got.
Yeah.
Right.
But
no, it's a cool song. And why did I choose this song? Because I went to Focal Brewery the other day, and I saw you play it, and I saw the band in movement. Like, I noticed for a moment, like, you forgot about us. You were just jamming. You were enjoying the song. Like, that was the zone, the magic moment. And that's pretty much what I think about Eminence Front.
I love it.
And I actually saw them live. This is from the poster from 2015. They play here in the Miami Arena.
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting is like, I tend to find bands or music when I'm supposed to.
Okay.
So, for example, I was telling somebody, like Radiohead is one of my favorite bands, but their first album came out when I was in high school. That's when Coldplay. That was when Creep came out. I was like, eh. But I didn't really get into them till like, I would say, 2005 or 6 when they came out with In Rainbows.
Okay.
Because that was a time for me to find them. And when I heard that album, then I understood the genius, and then allowed me to work backwards. And
I understand the other part.
Because at that point, musically, I was ready to understand all that.
Right.
No different than like the National. I'm a huge National fan. They've been going on since I lived in Cincinnati. But only most recently was I ready to understand what they can do and appreciate it, so then I can work backwards and really understand the full comment. So maybe it's time for the Who, since the Led Zeppelin's dead to me.
Well, let's see. Again, I chose this song because I wanna believe that when they designed this song, they were just jamming away. It just came to be, and it's pretty much the feeling that I get when I saw you playing with your band and your group.
I appreciate it. I mean, that's the goal. So I appreciate you got it out of that. That's awesome.
Let's everybody. This is the time that you get a good pair of headphones and listen to Eminence Front by The Who, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back.
All right. Yeah, never knew.
Never heard it before?
Did something like, no, never heard it.
Oh, okay. They have a couple like that.
Really? Yeah.
And again, I feel that they were just jamming.
Yeah, there's a little funky jam in there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I can see what you're talking about from that night, because, again, that night kind of evolved from, in my mind, like some very specific thing. And it's funny how we had the seating in the beginning was very sterile. And the next thing you know, it kind of turned into this small little amphitheater type of thing. And we went from, we're going to be really soft and and orchestral to like, all right, let's turn the amps up, let's get a little dirty. And then Darren, I hear a lot of Darren in there because Darren's guitar playing is a lot like that. And Bruce, who's on drums, is very good because he's a jam band type of guy, but he listens, so he'll add little tones or he'll change the dynamic up and down, and then Fabrice can pick it up. And that's really, again, I think our strong side is, the songs are what they are, but they can grow from this very structured song to like a jam or an seg that you can mix a bunch of songs together just because of the players that are doing it, which is cool.
Yeah, no, it's
and
cool.
It feels right.
It's cool. I like you like it, and yeah, actually, as soon as we left that night, I say I want to hear this song. Like from that night, it was like that's the song that I'm gonna chosen, and they actually are like that in the concert.
Really.
You know that when a concert starts, they go cheering, saying hello, trying to get the hype up.
Dude, get start.
They just started. They grabbed their guitars. They weren't even facing us.
Right.
They just started to play like tune in front of us and just playing. And then they turn on. Oh yeah, the people, the thousand of people are here. I'm like, oh okay, cool.
And it's, that's kind of how we always start. Like even that night, I think I don't know what I was doing. Maybe getting beers for everybody or something. I walk in, and they've already started. It's kind of like all right. And look, like anything, like a nice groove kind of gets people warmed up, and you find out where you're at, and just that's what we love to do anyway. So like some of this Continental shows we talked about, we would do 4-hour shows, and because a lot of us were just jamming the whole time, and a lot
you were
of
just having fun, and
and you're like, man, how in the heck did we play 4 hours? And I would play 5-6 hours if we could, but yeah. So
there's a point, right, that your hand and your voice, like you just get tired of.
Well, it's funny, like, and also the crowd, they're like, dude, can we have a break? Right. And some of the guys in the band are like, hey, we got to give
like
them a break,
right?
I'm like, oh, that makes sense, but I just want to go all night. So
right. Yeah. And enough about me. What has Ryan Cooper brought to Musicast? What's the song that you wanna?
I was thinking about that because, it's like, oh, in this moment, what represents you? Or is it the first song you wrote? Or is it the most poppy song you wrote or whatever? It also makes you think kind of like, what are these songs about? And a lot of them are I was in the studio today, like I was telling you, I was talking to the guy about kind of the genesis of the songs are very important because as you talk about how you're going to record them, like some you want to compress and make them shorter if they're too long. But then also, there's very certain things you're trying to get past. And for me, each one of the songs, each verse is that kind of like a storytelling on of a big thing. So, so I think the one I plan on doing is called Georgia.
Okay.
It's a little bit upbeat, more of a poppy song instead of getting all dark and dreary on.
I mean, you can go as dark and dreary if you want, no problem.
Yeah, and it's about kind of a transitional relationship. I met somebody that I really didn't expect to in a place I didn't expect to, both in very different places. And kind of asking your question like, is this what I'm looking for? Maybe more metaphorically, or not? And just kind of going with it, and serendipitously how things kind of go away and then come back, and then maybe in the end seeing it for something more than it was, maybe introspectively than if it's the relationship or the person. So, and the interesting thing was the song's name's Georgia, but that's not even the person's name. I didn't know the person's name. I thought it was Georgia, and I called this person Georgia forever on. I was like, hey, by the way, my name's not Georgia.
Well, now that you mentioned it.
So it's kind of a funny thing in itself. But how it all came together and ended as friends in such a way was...
what is wrong with you?
I got a scratch. I'm a cat. But it adds a little color to the song, too. So if this person heard it, they'd be like,
Right, he's going to notice. I tell you that you mentioned that. It happened to me with my wife. When I got to meet her, her name is Yain, right? And she told me once. And I was like, okay, cool. Next day I forgot because I'm really bad with names. Yeah. And then I'm not gonna do anything. Just gonna call her sweetheart and all that. And somebody's gonna
figure it out. Yeah.
I'm telling you, probably a month has happening. We're already going out, and I go to her family and say, "Perfect. Somebody's gonna call her." 4 or 5 different family members call her name in different pronunciation. So I'm like, fuck. It was Jain, Shine, Yang, and I was, which one is it? Like, fuck, what am I gonna do? So okay, I'm gonna look her up on Facebook and try to figure out, grammatically speaking, how do you pronounce it. She didn't accept me on Facebook for like 3 months. So I spent a good part of a month and a half trying to figure out, until like a friend of mine told her, like, you need to ask her name, please, and she's gonna tell it. And I'll pretend that I'm on the phone or something like that, so she doesn't say, oh no, he's going to introduce me.
Right.
That's how I got it. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
She knew that probably like 3 years into the relationship. Like, yeah, there was a month that I didn't know what you would call.
And I think that's kind of like the comedy of the whole thing. And that, obviously we're friends now, and I've, been writing other songs about other people and all the rest. But, yeah, it was just kind of a funny thing. And then in the moment, it was, there were just all these things that kind of lined up that were interesting. And there's some, some imagery in there, which I thought was cool. And like I said, the first song I wrote was about, the end of my marriage.
Okay.
At least so I thought it was. And then it kind of merged into, as I finished it, the ins and out of another relationship. And it was more of like, hey, like, it's called Come to Be. And it's like how you become certain things in different points of relationship, good and the bad.
Right.
But at the end, you're still kind of the person you were.
Yeah. The essence is still there.
Right. Yeah, right. It's like, hey, like, okay, at that moment in time, I was like this, but that's not who I am. It's just who I'd come to be in the moment.
Right.
But in the end, I'm always this person. And there was some interesting stuff in there. So what I brought was kind of, I was going to ask you, like, what's, would you rather the poppy one? Would you rather the dark one? You want them both? Or the most recent? Like, what makes the most sense? Because...
I mean, it's whatever you decide. You can actually choose 2 or 3 if you want.
Why don't we start with the first one I ever wrote?
All right.
And I'll do Come to Be, and then how we feel there. Maybe we'll get into a little bit more.
You got
how about
it.
We'll do the first one and then the most recent.
You got it.
Make
I
sense?
like that.
Okay,
Okay, so first time that we're actually playing live right here in the episode, and I know these songs we can get it on YouTube, Spotify. What can we get?
Yeah, great question. So right now I've been pretty protective to the material until we get out of the studio. So right now you can't get it anywhere until a live show. I'm doing a live show on September 10th.
Cool.
At Imperial Moto in Miami, and the goal of that is to deliver all of these songs for the first time, fully baked with the band to an audience, to get the feedback like you were talking about earlier, knowing that we're already in the studio, tooling them, but taking them from where we are from the framework and the skeleton part in the studio and putting it in a live audience and really seeing what it feels. So when we get back to the studio, do we make the tweaks and then we finish it. So we've termed it as a pre-EP release.
All right.
The goal is like, hey, we're going to play this for these people, see how what we've been doing in the studio works. And then if everything we like, we go and print, and then we'll be on Spotify and all this stuff.
All that. Okay, no, I like that because this is like an exclusive that we're gonna get here in Musicast.
Yeah, like we said the other night, it was the first time we ever played those songs, but they were in their kind of infancy form for the most part with the first time with the band. Here would be kind of where we finished some of the bakedness of the songs and the structure. The 10th is when we're gonna do it for a live audience. All right. And then we're doing a festival show on October 2nd. So my goal is to have everything recorded and out there for that October 2nd show, which is in Mississippi.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, this is the time that you get good headphones so you enjoy this audio a little bit more. Let's go with, what's the name of the first one?
This one's called Come to Be.
Come to Be.
Yeah. Did not mean to yell at you and do the things I tend to do. It's just how I had come to be. I did not mean to lie to you and act if I was so untrue. It's just how I had come to be. can you hear me? I'm screaming in need when all I ever wanted was your love. I did not mean to push and shove when all you wanted was my love. It's just how I had come to be. But can you hear me? I'm screaming in need when all I ever wanted was your love. I found myself inside a place I could not hide, just looking for someone to bail me out. I found myself inside a place I could not hide, just looking for someone to bail me out. And I'm on the other side. I found a new kind of life, and I'm the only one who can bail me out. I'll always be in love with you. It's all I've ever known to do. It's just how I have come to be. It's just who I. It's just who I. It's just who I have always been.
All right, all right. That was cool.
Okay.
It was really, really good. That's the first song that you wrote.
Yeah, I wrote that a couple years ago. It's funny, my mom was in town.
Okay.
And I had kind of was playing with this thing, and I wrote the song, and I had played it out, and I was like, you know what, I'll play it for my mom. Maybe she'll think it's, pretty or nice or something. Because at that point in time, once it's out, it kind of the meaning loses itself.
Right.
Because a lot of people are like, oh, if you have these songs that are about something in your life, then every time you play it, does it rehash the moment? To me, it doesn't. It's just like that was the time to get that out or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is the song has evolved over time, over a few relationships, which is interesting. So some of the lyrics are about one thing, one person, or the next, or about an aggregate. Oh. But it was funny. My mom was like, can't you just be happy? Can't you write a happy song? Which was interesting because most recently, a lot of the songs she was right was kind of trending towards this one route.
Right.
So it forced me to look at the songs I was writing and what the dynamic of the album would look like. And then I wrote a couple of songs that were more upbeat and more fun, where Georgia was one, or Mama Calls another one. Okay. so in the spirit of what my mom was kind of like, hey man, get your head out of the dirt a little bit, and yeah, it's good to have those times, but yeah, that was the first real song I ever wrote and kind of put some effort into it and then really studied it and say, hey, how do we make this sound?
No, that's cool, and it's very relatable. That's what I like about a good song. That you can always find some meaning in there, and you can. It's not only about your relationship, but it could be from other people's relationship as well. They can, oh yeah, I've been through there, done that.
Yeah, and like I said, there's like personal meaning in it, but then it also evolves into, it could be about this relationship with myself or my wife or my girlfriend or my kids or so the push and shove that comes in a relationship doesn't naturally mean I was pushing or shoving anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or lying could be lying to yourself. So yeah, the song has been very personal for me, obviously.
No, that's great. I liked it.
Yeah,
I like it, and I hope that we get that EP really, really soon. So.
Yeah, and what's great about it is to go from the guitar and just the notebook to, hearing what the guitar player that I have adds to it, and the bass and the drums, and then with the producer when he's saying, why don't we do the hook here, or why don't you add inflection there, and then adding some electric guitar of my own in there, and then this thing just kind of changes. So it's blossomed. All these songs, in a way, have blossomed into things I never thought they would coming straight from like this guitar and my notepad, which is interesting.
That's cool. So, that's cool. And so you told me that you want to jump from there, from the first song that you wrote to a more happy song.
Maybe a little bit happier song, right? So I would think that would be the Georgia song, because when I was talking to her about this song, I was like, hey, this thing's kind of coming together because there's a lot of imagery and a lot of things going on. She's like, well, can it at least be upbeat? And I was like, okay.
You need to be happier, man.
Again, and not necessarily about the person, but more about the process and the journey of kind of where are you and what are you trying to do here and who are you, who am I, and really for the first time saying, hey, like, this can end in a positive manner because you got to go do what you got to do, and I'm going to go do what I'm going to do, and we're kind of cool with that. So not everything is always perfect, but you can go your own way. Yeah, and
cool.
This was like one, and the most recent was like, hey, like, okay, we can still be friends. Like, that's cool. And yeah, I get what you're trying to do, and let me support that. And you know what I'm trying to do, so you can support that. And this individual had some significant tragedy in her life most recently, and so it was kind of a like, we haven't spoken in a bit, and the fact that what happened kind of brought us back together more on a friendship tip, and allowed me kind of really to finish the song in a more kind of friendly manner, if that makes any sense, or on a friendship manner versus romantic.
Okay.
Romantic tip, I guess.
Oh no, that's cool. That's cool. How about if we listen to it?
Try it. Okay.
All right, let's go with Georgia, everybody.
New York in December when I saw you standing there in a denim jumpsuit with blue suede shoes and long brown curly hair. Could you be the one that I've been searching for? The girl I found that night, Georgia. One step behind, one day too soon, and that was that. I looked all around for you like some lost ancient artifact. And could you be the one that I've been searching for? The one I found that night, Georgia. At Holland that night is where I found myself again. She tapped me on the shoulder like some memory of where and when. She said, you are the one that I've been searching for. The one you jinxed that night, Georgia. She followed me to the Anderson to hear the band play. We danced and laughed all night like we've done sense every day. But who are you to walk right through my closet door and stir up emotions put away like my dirty clothes? She said you are the one that I'd been searching for. So let's go dance again, Georgia. But you are not the one that I've been searching for. I looked all around and all I found were my dirty clothes. And who are you to walk right through my closet door? I'll see you once again. I think of you now and then. I hope you find your way, Georgia.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So that's a more happy song, yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's some funny stuff in there. Like I met this individual when she was going through a little thing, and I had already been through the thing.
Okay.
So it was kind of like, hey, let's just hang out and just have fun together, right? Without too much pressure, because at some point in time she was moving away to Italy, and it was kind of like, at a minimum, we kind of both needed each other's time.
Okay.
Together.
Okay.
And like I said, the first time I met her, there were some conversations that when I ran into her, actually months later at Heartland, I was playing a gig, and she tapped me on the shoulder. She's like, "Can I see your jean?" Because I always had a jean jacket on. She's like, "Yep, that's you." I was like, "Who?" Like, "Who are you?" She's like, "You're the guy who jinxed me like 3 months ago." And I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, what meant there? Yeah, so we hung out, like, the Andersons in there, which is a good spot that I plan on, and but then there was some conversations in there about the future and what she's got to do, and then what I'm going to do, and then just being friends and enjoying our time in the moment. Yeah,
that's cool. So these two songs are going into the EP.
Yeah. There's going to be right now we know 5. There's a 6th one that I'm deciding on not, but we know for sure there's 5. Yeah.
Okay. When we were talking before recording this, you were trying to do like a concept on your album and on your shows. Are you trying to do pretty much the same with this EP, or is just like a taste of what the project is?
That's a good point. So yeah, when I was putting that kind of with that runway show together before, it was like I was going through like kind of a gnarly time. I have all these songs that I've covered before that I really love, but a lot of people knew. So in one way, it was kind of cathartic, and like I could play all these songs and then do them in an order in a way that I would and never do it again. That was kind of my idea. I would play this one show, get that shit out of the way, and then go. This one, I've been a little bit more deliberate in that the first song was already there.
Okay.
And then another one came in a very similar fashion, and then it was about how do you balance out the music or the listening for the listener, but still be true to what's coming. And luckily, like I said, I had those little influences. Like I had the dark song. I have a kind of another more, I would say, a pretty song that has the same type of content. But then, like, this girl said, "Hey, can it at least be upbeat and happy?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." So I'll go from this to that. Or then my mom saying, "Look, I like all the songs, but damn, can you write like a more upbeat, fun song?" So that's when Mama Call came out. About that call I had with my mom.
Okay.
And about conversations that I have with her and my dad every day.
Okay. That's
and
cool.
and then another relationship where I just needed to kind of sit back and be patient and be true to myself and the space needed, and that is kind of like a middle ground where it's not dark, it's light, it's kind of like it's kind of a sweet poppy upbeat song, but has some very direct lyrics towards the individual that I was writing it about at the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
And it's been jokes like, have you seen, you know, Ryan's what do you call it? Because I posted one of a part of the recording on Instagram, and I wasn't thinking like the actual verse that came out was going to be on Instagram. I was just like, oh, this is a good clip, and it was actually a very specific situation that was going on. And this individual's friend was like, hey, have you seen the ode to you on Instagram today? So,
oh, shit.
But anyway,
it happened. It happened.
Dude,
It was-
like, you know, some are like metaphoric and do a lot of stuff, and from a writing perspective, me, it's been more like what's going on right now, and then
Right.
it's easy to kind of like get the imagery and write the words down, and then, you know, try to get some kind of color or content from what's going on around you. So I've been also like really studying like different songwriters out there. Like I love Ryan Adams, and some of his stuff is very direct about what's going on, and some's like kind of more metaphoric or what he was reading, and he's got this process. And then about how people write. Some people just like look and say, oh, you know, the green drapes on the window, you know, found her way into my soul, or something, you know, like, oh, great, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
But for me, it's been very specific about things that are going on and telling that story in a sequential manner. So
Okay, that's cool. It's a cool concept. What I like, and
it works for me. It works for me. Like I said, that last song was very specific. I saw this individual at this specific place, and the next time I saw him was at this place, and the next time I saw him was this, and then in the end, like, hey, it ain't gonna work out, but hey, go do your thing. I hope everything works out well.
That's cool. That's cool. I like it. And well, as we're going towards the end of the episode, this is the time where I'll shut up again, and you tell everybody who's watching and listening how to find you, what's coming on with Ryan Cooper. When are we going to get that EP?
Great question. So again, hey, thanks for the time. This is great. From the time we met, I guess a couple weeks ago, and Vincent and on the rest, it's, I think, one, a testament to kind of what the Miami music community is doing. We're kind of all supporting each other and helping each other out, which I think is pretty cool. So I guess the first question is, we're doing the EP pre-release September 10th at Imperial Moto Cafe, which is a coffee shop in Little River, Miami. But what's awesome is they're going to do a special night for us, meaning they never do anything at night. So they're going to open it as if just like a music venue. They're going to empty the place for us. It's a ticketed show, so you can find the tickets on Eventbrite. They're going to have a bar there, and we are going to deliver this music in its entirety for the first time in its full structure. So I think that's going to be really cool. And in an environment that's a really cool space, but is going to be transformed for us and the public that's going to come. So that's the first one. We're doing a show at the Loblolly Festival in Laurel, Mississippi, which is kind of cool, and possibly some stuff in New Orleans that same weekend that we're putting together. The recordings are starting or in process right now. We're starting to finish all the recordings or kind of get it all dialed in over the next few weeks and to be done by the 2nd. Instagram right now is Cooper and the Continentals, because that's the band that I've been, or the project I've been working on. RL Cooper Music is really my personal music one that will funnel everything through. But depending on the different projects, you know, you can find us one or the other. But how we're going to support this is through the RL Cooper Music. And the first kickoff for people to see how it is going to be is with the gig on September 10th with the different band.
Perfect. And I'll make sure to be there.
No, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. You can have that for sure. It's in a couple of days, guys, so pay attention. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much, my friend.
Oh, man. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
Amazing. And I'll see you next week. Bye.